Hi there and welcome to another demo of the GreenMine game. We're going to go ahead and jump into one of the later levels here and show you a few of the new features that we got going on and just kind of how the game's playing in general. To start with, we're in one of the desert levels, and because we're later in the game, we have the ability to zoom in and out as you just saw. That's the little magnifying glass up at the top right hand corner. It's very handy for the big levels like this one. Another thing you'll notice is that the ground is a little bit different color here. That's because it is actually harder earth here, and it takes longer to dig through. So you kind of have to manage your fellas there better, your miners. That you just saw was a jackleg and a TNT. That's how they crack into this double up and down shaft they create to get into this mine. Kind of a new little thing they do there. Another couple things you'll notice in this level is one of the upgrades that I've changed is that you can actually take your wooden framework that they've got put in there, and you can upgrade it into rock bolts, which we saw when we were on the mining tour up in Idaho. It's a nice little feature. It adds to your safety score. It's pretty cool. At some point, you're also going to see a sludgy pop up. He's our little antagonist who shows up and causes a mess, and we have to clean up after him. And you should see a water spill in this level too, but I'm not quite positive if we're going to see that. But occasionally, you'll be mining along, you'll crack into a water vein, and you'll have to go out and grout it up and seal it so it doesn't sit there and just leak and leak and leak. Continuing on here, we've got a couple other things that we've found as I've been making the game. It's been getting bigger and bigger, and there's been a lot of sort of emergent gameplay that's been showing up where basically the whole micromanagement of trying to not only manage your miners and manage what they're doing specifically, but also manage your income, manage the gold or the money that's coming in based on how much gold you've acquired, and trying to spend it on the proper things. Like, for example, right here, I'm going to go ahead and get some solar panels, just so I can get my my green score kind of cranking. Speaking of water, there's a spill right there, so I'm going to go ahead and have this worker come in and grout it up. He goes up in there and shoots his little grouting hose, the shotcrete they call it, and grouts it up. Once he's done, he's going to take his remaining gold back to the truck there, while this other guy is way down below taking care of more business. That's another thing that's new to some of these other levels, is that there's mining that's going up and down in some of the big ones, just to, keep things interesting. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade some steel pickaxes so I can dig a little faster. That's one of the advantages of having the better pickaxes, is that you can dig through this harder dirt a little faster, because otherwise it takes much longer. And there's our old pal Sludgy. I'm going to go ahead and have this worker clean up after him, because if you let him sit around, he'll just make a huge mess, and it'll just destroy your green score if you let that linger. So it's good to keep on your toes and keep your eyes peeled for that bad boy, and as well as water leaks, because when they show up, it's just not good. Here I'm going to go ahead and build another house. That way I can accommodate more workers. Go ahead and get one more guy on the job here to kind of round things out and speed things up. You'll notice that the more gold you have, the faster the cash flow comes in. You actually get kind of periodic income, where occasionally your cash will bump up, and it's all based on a factor of how much gold you've acquired from the mine so far. So if you're doing well, you get more capital to spend on upgrades and things like that. So like here's one that's the rock bolts. I'm gonna add a little bit of a grid work behind them, probably some like wire mesh, kind of like we saw. But for right now, there's rock bolts. It increases your overall safety in your mine, and as a result, your safety score goes up. And you may notice in the lower left, I've changed the icons from just colored stars to actual icons that indicate what they are. Of course, you got your cash. Right below that, you've got your gold bars, which indicate naturally how much gold you have. Below that, you got your earth, which is your green score, your environmental score. And then right below that, you got your little hard hat, that's your safety score. And then, of course, below that is how many workers you currently got. And I've just upgraded my truck there to make it a cleaner diesel, which is, quite handy. And we've got another water spill going on here, so I'm going to have my guy come in there and take care of it. Apparently it's in the shaft. I was actually thinking about pulling those out of there and putting it so they can't spawn in shafts, but we'll see. Anyway, my workers have finished up with their mining. They're going to go ahead and make their last little drop-offs at the truck. Unfortunately, it looks like I've got just the wrong amount of gold to make it so that the truck's going to have to do one extra trip for this last little pile full of gold we've got here. Occasionally that does happen, just based on the capacity of the truck and how many times you know dump gold into it. So certain levels it'll have to make a certain amount of trips. But yeah, he's dropping it off there. It's not a bad score. I still have a couple of tweaks I need to make with the green score specifically, where it needs to be benefited more, especially like when you get the solar panels. It should be rising a little more steadily. But you know, that's all part of beta testing. And here is the end of the level. This is where you get your final scores, and it'll be weighed against the par there, which will say whether or not you did well, which of course we'll figure out as we do more testing. So yeah, that's it for there. Thanks again for checking out GreenMine, and I hope you like it.